Review by Saudi Arabia. And I have the honor to invite His Excellency Faisul Al-Ibrahim, Vice Minister for Economy and Planning, and his team to make a joint statement. Excellencies, you have the floor.
Shukran.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It gives me pleasure and honor to stand before you today in order to present our voluntary national review in order to harmonize SDGs with the plans of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The track record of Saudi Arabia is remarkable in terms of the implementation of the MDGs, and Saudi Arabia played a pivotal role in the implementation, in drafting the SDGs in 2015. And we are pleased to give you a full outline of the success we have made in the short period in the past and the willingness of Kingdom Saudi Arabia to cooperate with sister and friendly countries in order to help the kingdom in order to implement its SDGs. It is opportune that the timelines for the kingdom's vision for 2030 with the time framework for the 2030 agenda, and this creates a great opportunity for harmonization. Today, we have a big team, multilateral participants from private and public sectors and NGOs, as well as representatives of households and all stakeholders. The team is headed by His Excellency Faisul Fadil Suleiman, Vice Minister of Planning and Economy, and gives me pleasure to ask him in order to make the full presentation of Saudi Arabia.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Before I start, I want to recognize Nelson Mandela, one of the world's most important, most visionary, and most impactful leaders. He would have been 100 years old today. Today, countries are faced with an ever-changing global landscape, with challenges related to inequality, poverty, unemployment, and changing population dynamics. Within this context, development realized through the SDGs has become the robust policy framework used to tackle these looming economic and social issues. Having recognized the significance of the SDGs, King Salman bin Abdulaziz has placed them at the top of our government's policy agenda. It is my great honor and privilege to present Saudi Arabia's first voluntary national review to the 2018 United Nations High-Level Political Forum on Sustainable Development. The review highlights the progress Saudi Arabia has made on all 17 goals. 6 in particular stand out: clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, life on land, and partnership for the goals. Our progress on the SDGs can be attributed to 4 factors: the alignment between Vision 2030 and the SDGs, the coordination and support from the private sector, non-government organizations, and the people within Saudi Arabia, a set of traditional values and principles that commit us to sustainable development, and lastly, and perhaps most salient, our leadership's unwavering commitment to the future as envisioned by SDGs and Saudi Vision 2030. As a country, we are pleased with our progress, but we know that this is only the beginning. The path to sustainable development is long and challenging because it requires countries to rethink their approach, not only to policy, but also to governance itself. With Vision 2030, Saudi Arabia has already begun this process, and we have come a long way in terms of enhancing our policy making and coordination efforts. We are mindful of our performance and its potential for impact. We stand committed. We must ensure a sustainable future for the new generation of our youth, our most treasured resource. Both Saudi Vision 2030 and the SDGs are ambitious and transformative agendas. They imagine the same future, a future free from poverty, hunger, and all forms of deprivation. They strive towards a more equitable society that provides quality education and healthcare, recognizes the inherent value of every citizen and resident, and enables the economic participation of both women and men. Vision 2030 operationalizes sustainable development through the implementation of 12 vision realization programs. These VRPs focus on key SDG-related themes. For instance, the National Transformation Program aims to make government more efficient and improve service delivery in healthcare and education. The Quality of Life Program focuses on lifestyle improvement, infrastructure development, and increasing public spaces. And the Hajj and Umrah program, one of the most important programs, aims to enhance the experience of Islam's most sacred practice by focusing on security, safety, access, and affordable services. The first example of how the SDGs are mainstreamed into Vision 2030 is our National Water Strategy. This strategy required the coordination across different ministries in partnership with the private sector and local communities to help us deliver clean water to every person in Saudi Arabia. Solutions came from all sectors, from community-based programming that worked with individuals to capture rainwater, to over 500 government-built dams and 29 desalination plants across the country. Through this plan, the Kingdom has effectively managed its scarce water resources and ensured this will continue well into the future. Today, almost the entire population has access to electricity. By 2023, we will generate 9.5 gigawatts of renewable energy. By 2030, through investments with our partners, we will generate up to 200 gigawatts of solar energy per year for domestic and international use. We have also introduced regulations to reduce energy consumption. These are coupled with strong awareness campaigns. These are some of the programs that will reduce greenhouse gas emissions as part of our commitments to the Paris Accord on climate change. Over 80% of our population is urban. Riyadh and Jeddah are two of the fastest growing cities in the world. To moderate the impact of urbanization, we have embarked on a number of programs. We have worked with the governorates to strengthen the regional development process. With UN Habitat, we have developed the Future Saudi Cities program, which engages youth, women, and community leaders to help solve critical urban problems, such as the need for open public spaces, comprehensive transportation solutions, and the management of the urban sprawl. As part of the National Transportation Strategy, Riyadh's King Abdulaziz public transportation project is one of the largest in the world, which will serve 4.5 million passengers per day when completed. One of the cornerstones of our commitment to sustainable development is preserving our ecosystem. A major component of this is waste and water recycling programs such as the ones in Riyadh and Jubail, which will reduce environmental impact from industry and people while providing cleaner air and energy to residents. The Red Sea and NEOM mega projects are taking this a step further by integrating the protection of terrestrial and marine habitats into their plans. Through these programs, we have doubled the protected land areas and significantly increased the size of protected marine reserves. These numbers will only increase even more with the impending designation of 6 major wildlife reserves across the country, reaffirming our commitment to preserving the natural beauty of Saudi Arabia. The Kingdom plays an important role in overseas development and regional stability, partnering with our nations in tackling global economic and social hardship. Focusing on migration, food security, and rural agriculture, we have helped 40 countries become more resilient since the start of our Overseas Development Assistance Program in 1950. Over the last 3 years, we have provided more than $38 billion in humanitarian aid, helping more than 6 million refugees, and implementing 260 projects targeting food security, health, and water. In 2017, Saudi Arabia provided almost $15 billion to finance 635 development projects and economic programs in 83 countries. The King Salman Humanitarian Aid and Relief Center was established in 2015 to build on and sustain ongoing efforts to alleviate suffering and preserve human dignity. To conclude, our first voluntary national review tells a story of where Saudi Arabia is today and what we need to do for a sustainable tomorrow. In putting this report together, we have learned 4 key lessons. Planning is important, but execution is even more important. Collaboration is the only way such an agenda of this size can prevail. Persistence and determination are fundamental requirements for success. And monitoring and evaluation are critical to determining the successes and failures, because there will be setbacks and revisions needed along the way. We know that achieving Vision 2030 and the SDGs will not happen overnight. It is a journey that requires the participation of every segment of the Saudi society: government, private sector, NGOs, and academia. I am confident in our capabilities and our nation's commitment to sustainable development. This is a national issue, and it must be thought of as such. I am here representing not only one ministry, but all stakeholders determined to shape the future of Saudi Arabia. Lastly, sustainable development is deeply rooted in our values. The Holy Quran and the sayings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, clearly guide us towards reducing waste, preserving the environment, protecting wildlife, preserving water resources, respecting human rights, and sharing responsibility, among many other values. Therefore, we are responsible. We aspire to use this platform to learn from others, continue to support this global effort, and engage in productive policy dialogue, all in an effort to achieve Vision 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you.
شكرا لمعالي نائب وزير.
I thank the Vice Minister of Planning, Mr. Faisul الإبراهيم. It is my pleasure now to give the floor to his Engineer Yusuf Al-Bayan, Deputy CEO of SABC.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by saying how delighted and honored to be here, not only presenting SABC, but also presenting the entire private sector in Kingdom Saudi Arabia. The role of private sector is in achieving the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals is a very critical one. It's creating great opportunities for the private sector to open up new market opportunities and attract new private investment. In sustainability developments, by leveraging companies' core competencies, expertise, and resources. SABC did not discover the concept of sustainable development the day before yesterday. SABC was founded to find the valuable uses for the natural gas that used to be flared on the atmosphere, byproduct petroleum extractions in the mid-70s. Sustainability, therefore, is not a merely SABC priority. Its priority can change, rather its core values, and core values never change. Advancing the causes of sustainability developments requires innovations and technology. These are the most powerful drivers for the global economy. These are not a need, but it's a requirement for investment as well. With the right regulatory environments and public-private sector involvement and cooperations, and incentive and policies, the private sector will be positioned to play their role. The SDGs provide SABC and other private sector across the globe as a roadmap. Our operations provide employment to thousands of people, enabling them to support their families, along with innovative solutions that are more sustainable. These solutions support SABC 2025 strategy, as well as Saudi Arabia National Transformation Program, and more importantly, Vision 2030 vision. They are also offer the best opportunities to build a truly sustainable business model right across the value chain. SABC has created a list of major programs. They are all concluded in 5 sustainability priorities. Let me share with you those priorities: portfolio assessment and design, renewable energy, carbon efficiency, circular economy, and more importantly, sustainable growth. Our goal is to integrate those sustainability priorities on the 10th SDGs that we have chosen. And I'll take about a few minutes to share some of you, given my limited time. Renewable energy SABIC is inactive in making solar panels and wind turbines to generate electricity in a sustainable manner. Carbon efficiency. SABIC has set itself ambitious goal to reduce the greenhouse gases, energy consumptions, and water usage by 25% and material losses by 50% by 2025 from the level on 2010. Circular economy. SABIC is the first to implement project for the chemical recycling of challenging mixed plastic waste back to polymers. There are much that SABIC can offer through its sustainability story. We hope to play a catalyst role, and a business for sure will think strategically to take these opportunities in order for us to find tremendous business and also to serve our nations. Thank you very much.
شكرا.
I thank His Excellency Yusuf Al-Glayand. And as the private sector complements in its role and task the public sector, we cannot ignore the great importance of the non-profit sector in this respect. It's my pleasure to give the floor to Her Highness Princess Amira Al Saud, who will talk about the non-profit sector and their role in SDGs. Thank you, Ambassador.
Delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege to be amongst you today to represent the voice of civil society in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The Sustainable Development Goals hold a special meaning for the King Khalid Foundation. We started 18 years ago with the mission to combat poverty in the kingdom, only to find out that there are no development partners in the form of a vibrant nonprofit sector and socially responsible private sector on the ground to deliver the needed programs. After a decade of focusing on strengthening the nonprofit sector, we are now able to once again focus on what we think is key for our country and people: equal opportunity. And the principle of partnership for development is central to us achieving our vision, an ambitious Saudi society with equal opportunities for all. And it is encouraging and inspiring to see that partnership is very much the spirit that SDGs are built on, as well, especially through Goal 17, Partnerships for Sustainable Development. The Foundation often works in coalitions to advocate for policy change, and with local and international partners to bring practices and programs to the kingdom. I would especially like to highlight the importance of local partnerships as a key factor for sustainable development. It is encouraging to witness the growth of our civil society in my country, spearheaded by the cultural and social openings in the kingdom. When we first started as a foundation, there were only 115 NGOs. And now we have almost 2,600 NGOs across the kingdom, and more are expected to be formed in the near future. The kingdom is undergoing a significant political and economic transformation. As civil society, we look with great eagerness and excitement to the unfolding of these changes. The Vision 2030 is the first government development plan in the history of the kingdom to strongly acknowledge the developmental role of the nonprofit sector. Vision 2030 is committed to improving the quality of the sector and increasing the economic contribution of NPOs to reach 5% of GDP, a high rate compared to global standards, which implies a greater commitment and belief in the role of NPOs. Civil society organizations, by virtue of them being cause-oriented, are fully aligned with the SDGs. As an organization, we at KKF take pride in aligning our work with 8 of the SDGs, one of which happens to be part of this year's thematic focus, which is Goal 12, Responsible Consumption and Production. In parallel to working on strengthening the nonprofit sector since 2008, KKF established the Responsible Competitiveness Index and Award, a comprehensive program which measures and strengthens private sector's contribution to environmental, social, and governance issues. We continue to encourage the private sector to be sustainable, socially aware, and more inclusive when it comes to their labor force. Every year, we give out an award to national companies based on their score on the index. Moreover, we build the capacity of companies to do better and to do more. Our work through the award gave us so much expertise and knowledge that we now hold a sustainable leading practices training, targeting small and medium-sized enterprises to adopt a more responsible and sustainable mode of production. We encourage other CSOs to advocate for sustainability and social innovation in the private sector through a partnership approach that revolves around building capacities to serve the needs of local communities. King Khalid Foundation is fully committed and excited to be part of the first Saudi voluntary national review on the SDGs, and we encourage our government to continue its commendable work with civil society towards achieving the development goals. I would like to end by quoting Amartya Sen, the famous economist and humanist, who once wrote that there is a need to recognize the collective comprehension of solving problems through social associations. I believe that today and through the SDG agenda and the high-level political forum, this recognition has been granted. Thank you.
سيدات والسادة.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the story of sustainable development in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We presented to it proudly and humbly presented to you. It's based on two basic elements, the complementarity and the integration between the private and public sector and the institutions of the social of the civil society, and the second is the committed leadership that is committed to the SDGs and the popular participation in making decisions in these respects. Now we are honored to listen to your comments and your questions, and thank you.
I thank the Vice Minister for Economy and Planning of Saudi Arabia and his team for the joint presentation. We now enter the interactive session, and we have very limited time. So I'm going to ask everyone to limit their interventions to 1 minute as far as possible. Thank you. I now invite the United Arab Emirates to take the floor.
Thank you very much. Great presentation. We congratulate you on your success and ambitious Vision 2030. We would like to know more about the vision, the governance, and how do you plan to address the SDGs in this regards, please?
I thank the Emirates for his intervention, and I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Egypt.
Thank you. I would like to congratulate the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for the report and for the tangible accomplishments it has achieved during the last period. Now, I would like to ask the following. We have noticed that from the VNR, the developments of the project of the city of Neom and the Red Sea region. So could you tell us what's being done to ensure that the biodiversity is being protected? And also, could you tell us a bit more about what is being planned to make these developments sustainable? Thank you.
I thank the representative of Egypt for his intervention, and I now invite the representative of Bahrain.
I would like first to thank the team that made this presentation, which came very comprehensive and which reflects the achievements of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in the fields of the SDGs through the 2030 vision. And I would like to commend what you have tabled regarding the programs that for Hajj and Umrah. I, as a member of the Islamic world, find myself grateful and appreciative of what the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia provides as services in this respect. And I only wish to thank you for that. Thank you.
Representative of Bahrain for his intervention, and I now give the floor to the final member state, Malaysia. You have the floor.
I want to thank the Saudi Arabia team for the well-presented presentation. And, well, we noted that with great interest, the plan to increase the use of renewable energy. Can you tell us a bit more about what is planned? Who is coordinating the process and how it will aid in Saudi Arabia's sustainable development? Thank you so much.
I thank the distinguished representative of Malaysia for his intervention, and I now turn the mic over to His Excellency Faisal Al-Ibrahim to very, very briefly, Minister, respond to the questions.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I'll start with the comment from Bahrain. The Hajj and Umrah program is near and dear to the leadership and one of the most important programs. It aims to enhance the experience of pilgrims, the many millions that come and the many millions that will increase, inshallah, in number. Malaysia's question on renewable energy, the main coordinating body in Saudi Arabia is the Ministry of Energy, Industry and Mineral Resources. However, I must note again that policy making is transforming very fast in Saudi Arabia. And the key thing that we are seeing the value of is coordination among ministers. Ministers work very closely together on tackling challenges that are faced by one because they believe that it's faced by all. Another element that also contributes to the renewable energy agenda is private investment. Our Sovereign Wealth Fund, the Public Investment Fund, is working with its partners to seek opportunities for investment. There's a long list of projects that are on the renewable energy program, including the 300 megawatts Sakaka project, and we're happy to share with you more of these as much as needed. With regards to Egypt's question on NEOM and what's being done for biodiversity, this concept is not new. We have large private sector entities that this is ingrained in their day in and day out operations. We have centers of excellence within Saudi Arabia. One look at NEOM and the Red Sea project and one visit will really put the biodiversity agenda at the highest level. These are very beautiful places, and the leadership will stop at nothing from protecting them and protecting the reserves there and the wildlife there. And this is being implemented through the designs of these two mega projects. With regards to the governance of Vision 2030, we have several bodies, including the Strategic Management Council. This council looks at all the strategies that are being proposed, all the strategies that are needed to achieve Vision 2030, the trade-off, the policy questions, and that's where most of the alignment happens, and that's where most of the SDG agenda will be pushed. Thank you.
I thank the Vice Minister for Economy and Planning of Saudi Arabia and his entire team for their presentation this afternoon. I also thank all delegations in the room for your valuable contribution to this process. We have come to the end of our 10th set of voluntary national reviews. This afternoon from 3 p.m. to 4:45 p.m. in Conference Room 4, there will be a final set of voluntary national reviews by Paraguay and Qatar. In parallel, from 3:30 p.m. in Trusteeship Council Chamber, we will have the continuation of the general debate before the closing of the high-level political forum under the auspices of the Council. The meeting is adjourned, but before that, I think that we should give our presenting country a round of applause. The meeting is adjourned.